So you're here because, well, I guess you want the real deal, right? You're trying to sort through all the noise online, all the gurus, and you're looking for a solid way to actually, build something that matters, like your own digital empire.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you want to do it, well, without needing like a ton of money up front, right?
Yeah.
You want to use your effort and your smarts, and that's exactly what we're diving into today.
That's it. You've asked for a focused look at building a digital business, mostly through, I guess we could call it sweat equity.
I like that.
And we're using this book, How to Build a Digital Empire by Adeel Chowdhry,
Yeah.
as our guide, specifically looking at strategies where your dedication and resourcefulness, that's what drives it.
Yeah.
It's all about seeing that clear path, one that relies on your hard work more than a huge investment right at the beginning.
And it's funny because Adeel's own story, it kind of fits with that, right? He started at McDonald's and then he achieved, some pretty big success online.
Yeah.
And it shows you it is possible
Right.
to build something from nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it kind of hits that feeling we all get sometimes, looking at the internet and seeing all this conflicting advice and just feeling totally lost.
Yeah, just overwhelmed.
Totally overwhelmed.
Yeah, and that's why we're doing this deep dive, is to pull out those core strategies from the book, the actionable ones that really focus on building through consistent effort. We want to give you a practical roadmap, one that zeroes in on those sweat equity principles.
I love it.
That can get you going and gaining some momentum.
Okay, so let's jump right in.
Yeah.
The book starts off with this idea called the emperor mindset. Now that sounds pretty ambitious. But what's the main point there?
Well, it does sound pretty grand, doesn't it? But the principle behind it, it's really powerful. The author, he talks about figures like, Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Genghis Khan.
Oh, okay.
Now, obviously, we're not talking about conquering the world literally, right?
Right.
But it's more about adopting this mindset that you will succeed in the end if you stick to the process that's laid out. The idea is to act from day one like your success is a sure thing.
Okay.
As long as you follow the steps.
So it's about believing strongly in the process, in the method itself.
That's it. That's the core of it. The book even says this method is, it's designed to be hard to fail at.
Really?
Especially if you're working with limited time and money.
Interesting.
The argument is those limitations actually make you focus on the things that really matter.
Yeah.
The income generating stuff. And what's interesting is how much it stresses this belief, like a fundamental belief as the starting point before you even see any results, tangible results.
Okay, so the book also mentions some initial homework that's tied to this mindset. What does that involve?
Okay, so before you even start researching a market or thinking about your product, the very first step is, it's looking inward. It's about really picturing your ideal life, like really vividly imagining it.
Okay.
So the income you want, what you do each day, where you live, the people you hang out with, it's creating that detailed picture in your mind.
Almost like visualizing the end goal in detail.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then, this is maybe even more important, it asks you to describe the kind of person who would live that life naturally.
Okay.
What are their habits like? What do they think about? What's their daily routine? And finally, the homework is about committing to one specific action that you do every single day to become more like that person.
That's cool.
This initial focus, it really shows how important personal motivation is and making sure your actions match what you want.
I like that.
Right from the get-go.
So you got the mindset, the foundation. What's the next big step in building this digital empire with sweat equity?
Well, according to the book, the absolute key is finding what it calls your starving crowd.
Okay.
And this is where the real work starts, the hands-on stuff.
Okay.
You got to build your audience before you even think about what to sell them.
Now, the book, it uses this analogy to illustrate that point.
Yeah.
Something about a hot dog stand, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It talks about this question that Gary Halbert used to ask. He was a legend in direct mail marketing. He'd ask his students, if you opened a hot dog stand and you were competing with me, what's the one advantage you'd want the most? And the students would say, better hot dogs, a better location, or faster service.
Yeah.
But Halbert's answer, it was simple. A starting crowd.
Okay.
His point was, if you got people who are desperate for what you're offering, selling becomes so much easier.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why building that audience first, it's so crucial.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. So how do you actually find this starving crowd?
Well, the book lays out what it calls the triple P framework.
Okay.
Pain, passion, problem, skill. So the basic idea is to find a niche where people are really struggling or frustrated, or maybe they have a huge passion, or you have a skill that solves a problem people are looking to fix.
Okay.
The best scenario is when all three of those line up.
And what are the specific signs that you found a starving crowd?
3 main things. First, they got to be experiencing a lot of pain, frustration because of a specific problem. Second, they have to be active online.
Right.
I mean, they're searching for answers online. And third, they got to be able to afford a solution.
Got it. Okay. So how do you actually research this? Like, where do you even start looking for these people who are, struggling and looking for help?
The book has some practical advice on that.
Okay.
Start by looking at yourself. What are the biggest challenges or frustrations you've had? Chances are other people are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Then dive into online communities like Reddit or YouTube.
Right.
See what posts or videos are getting the most discussion.
Yeah.
What questions keep popping up. You can't even talk to family and friends.
Right.
Though the book does say they might not be totally objective, the key is to find problems that are really bothering people.
Got it.
Problems that are widespread.
Okay, so the author also talks about these 3 big niches. What are those, and how do they help with finding that starving crowd?
Those are health, wealth, and relationships. These are big markets. They're always around, and people are always looking to improve in those areas.
Right. Yeah.
The book says those categories are too broad to target directly, but they have tons of smaller, more specific niches within them.
I see.
So if your idea fits into one of those big 3, it's a good sign.
Okay.
It means there's probably a decent market, but you got to narrow it down and use those starving crowd criteria to find your specific audience.
Okay, now the book gives a whole bunch of examples for each niche.
It does. It does.
Like almost too many.
Well, that was on purpose, to get your brain working and to give you ideas that match your interests and skills.
Right.
For example, in health, you had things like weight loss for women after pregnancy, or natural ways to fight insomnia, or plant-based diets for athletes.
Got it.
Then in wealth, there were ideas like real estate investing for beginners, or making money through freelance writing online, or managing your personal finances. And then in relationships, the examples range from online dating advice for introverts to improving communication in a marriage, or figuring out co-parenting after a split.
Yeah.
There were even some that were about passions and skills like coaching people on their golf swing.
Yeah, I remember that.
Or teaching DIY home renovation.
Yeah, use a lot.
And the point of all those examples is to show you just how many niches there are within those bigger categories.
Right.
Each one has a starving crowd just waiting for someone to help them.
Now, I think a lot of people at this stage, they hit this roadblock. They think, who am I to give advice? I'm no expert.
Yeah.
How does the book handle that feeling?
That's a big one, and the book tackles it directly. It says you don't need to be some world-famous expert.
Really?
Nope. You just need to be a little bit ahead of your audience in terms of knowledge. And just as important, you've got to be someone they like and connect with.
Yeah.
The author says your job is to guide them to the next step and to build that connection with them.
So it's more about being relatable and showing them the way forward than having some fancy degree.
That's it.
Okay.
The book even has a practical way to learn enough to help others.
Oh, really?
It says, go on YouTube, search how to fix problem, watch the top videos, write down anything you don't get, and then search specifically for those missing pieces. It says you can get knowledgeable enough in like a week to help others facing that same problem. You just need to know a bit more than the average person in your audience and be able to explain it clearly.
So you found your starving crowd. What's the next logical step in building this digital empire?
Now you need to create what the book calls the bait.
Okay.
It's better known as a lead magnet.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's a free resource, something valuable, usually a PDF ebook or a short guide that you give to potential customers in exchange for their email address. The main goal here is to start building your email list.
Right.
It's like a direct line to your audience.
So it's giving something useful away for free.
Yeah.
To attract the right people and start that connection.
Exactly. The book stresses that the lead magnet should solve a very specific problem.
Okay.
A narrow problem that your starving crowd has. It gives a clear example for an audience into weight loss. A good lead magnet could be a shopping list of foods that boost metabolism.
Yeah.
It needs to be something they really want and can use right away.
So how do you make a professional ebook without paying a lot for designers or software?
Well, this is where the book introduces a tool called Sqrindle.
Yeah.
It's part of this platform called Empirely. It's an AI-powered ebook creator.
Interesting.
It helps with all sorts of things like research, writing prompts, even designing and formatting the ebook, all pretty quickly. The idea is to make ebook creation easy, even if you don't have design skills or much time.
All right, so you've got your lead magnet. How do you actually get people to give you their email for it?
You need a dedicated landing page. It's a single web page with one job: collect email addresses.
Got it.
The book gives examples of effective landing pages and this formula that works well.
Okay.
How to do X, get rid of Y without Z.
Okay.
Z is something people have probably already tried. That didn't work. For example, how to double your matches on dating apps without taking new pictures or writing a new bio.
Yeah. Okay.
The landing page will clearly explain the benefits of your ebook and have a simple form for visitors to enter their email.
So the landing page is the exchange point.
Yeah.
You give them the resource, they give you their email.
Exactly. And again, the book recommends this tool landingly. It's part of that Empirely platform, and it's supposed to make creating these landing pages super easy. It uses templates you can customize to match your brand and your lead magnet.
So you're starting to build your list. How do you keep those subscribers engaged and turn them into what the book calls an army of raving fans?
That's where email marketing comes in. You got to be consistent.
Okay.
The strategy in the book is daily emails to your list.
Okay.
The key here is these emails should be more like short blog posts or articles. You're providing value, building a relationship, establishing yourself as a go-to source in your niche.
Now, daily emails, that sounds like a lot of work, especially for someone just starting out.
It can be a bit daunting, yeah. But the book talks about these 3 E's: entertaining, educational, expertise demonstrating. And interestingly, it says that early on, being entertaining is even more important.
Really?
Yeah, to keep people interested and opening your emails.
Oh, makes sense.
These daily emails, they should ideally offer a quick tip or an insight, something useful related to your niche. But it has to be engaging and conversational.
And the book also talks a lot about storytelling in these emails, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It says that people are naturally drawn to stories. It's a really effective way to get information across, to build an emotional connection and make your emails more memorable. You could share personal stories, examples from your life or other people's lives, interesting news stories, even make up scenarios to illustrate a point.
Okay.
The key is to write like you're talking to a friend. Avoid technical jargon and don't be afraid to show some personality.
That makes sense.
You know, keep it interesting and relatable.
But these daily emails aren't just about keeping your list happy. There's a bigger strategy for reaching more people.
Exactly. That's where this idea of the infinite traffic loop comes in. The idea is to take the stuff you're writing for your emails and use it on other platforms too. This way you reach more people and, even better, you drive traffic back to your landing page. Which means your email list keeps growing.
So one piece of content gets used in multiple places.
That's it.
What platforms are we talking about here?
Well, the book suggests turning your email content into blog posts. You can put those on your own website or on platforms like Medium or Quora. You can also make YouTube videos based on your emails, maybe using presentation software like Presentar, which is part of that Empirely platform we talked about. Then you can take the audio from those videos and turn them into podcasts using this tool called Talkable. You can even pull out key points and make Twitter or X threads, LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts, even adapt it for short videos on Instagram Reels or TikTok. The main idea is to get your message out to as many people as possible by adapting it for each platform. The goal is always to lead people back to your lead magnet landing page.
That's a smart way to make the most of your writing. But what if you're starting from scratch and you have no followers on these other platforms? It's like talking to nobody.
The book addresses that. It calls that the critical mistake, you know, just expecting traffic to show up without doing anything. To fix this, it has this nitrous strategy. You actively like and comment on posts from other people in your niche. So you're engaging with other marketers, influencers, but most importantly, potential members of your starving crowd.
Right.
The goal is to build real connections, get your name out there, and it encourages people to check out your stuff if you've engaged with theirs.
Yeah.
The book even suggests setting daily targets for engagement in the first few weeks to get things rolling.
So it's about being active in the community, building relationships,
Yes.
not just posting your stuff and hoping for the best.
Exactly. It's about making those connections and getting the right people to see your content.
So you've built your audience, you're engaging with them daily, you're expanding your reach. When do you start making money? You know, harvesting the riches, as the book calls it.
Now the focus shifts to making money. The book says once you've got that engaged email list, you're in a great spot to start creating and selling products. Products that directly address what your audience needs and wants.
Right.
Because you've been providing value and building that relationship through your emails.
Right.
There's already trust and interest there.
So these paid products, they should solve a bigger problem than the free lead magnet, right?
Exactly. The lead magnet, it gets people in by solving a small, specific problem.
Okay.
Your paid offerings, you got to tackle the bigger, more complex challenges your audience has.
I see.
The book even suggests surveying your email list.
Right.
Yeah, to really understand what they struggle with the most and what solutions they'd pay for. That feedback from your audience is super valuable for guiding your product creation.
The author also has this formula for naming your products. What's the thinking behind that?
The formula is designed to communicate the value of your product clearly and quickly. It usually includes the main benefit, a specific time frame for results, a hint about the method involved, and a catchy name. For example, the book gives the Slim Stride system how to burn 10 pounds of fat every week through easy walks. It immediately tells you the benefit, losing 10 pounds of fat, the time frame every week, a bit about the method, easy walks, and a catchy name, the Slim Stride system. This structured naming, it's supposed to make your offers more appealing.
Okay, that's a good strategy. Now, the book has this idea that sounds kind of backwards.
Yeah.
It says, write the sales page for your product before you actually create it. What's the point of that?
It might seem strange, but it makes sense.
Great.
When you write the sales page first, you have to really think about what your product will offer, who it's for, and the main benefits.
Right.
This helps you make sure people actually want what you're making and that you have a good message to sell it. It's like a blueprint guiding you as you create the product and making sure it matches what people are looking for.
So what are the key parts of a sales page that converts well, according to the book?
It outlines a few crucial sections. You start with a strong headline that grabs attention right away and makes a big promise or asks an interesting question. Then there's the lead. It connects with the reader's current situation, acknowledges their problems, and hints at a new solution. The bullet point section is super important for highlighting the key benefits of your product in a concise, snappy way that makes people want to learn more. Then there's the close. This is where you make the sale. It includes a clear offer, maybe with price anchoring, showing a higher original price, a strong guarantee to reduce risk, a sense of scarcity or urgency, a clear call to action, and often an FAQ section to answer any remaining questions. The book, again, mentions how useful Landingly is for creating these sales pages.
Right. Okay. So you've got your sales page outline. Now it's finally time to actually create the product. What are some of the recommended formats and approaches?
The book gives you a bunch of options. Starting with one of the simplest ebooks. It really emphasizes making them look professional, even if it's just a simple ebook, and it recommends using Sqrindle for that. It also talks about Sqrindle. It's another platform within Empirely, specifically for selling ebooks without any fees.
Interesting.
Which is great for maximizing your profits.
Ebooks seem like a good starting point. What other products does the book suggest?
Online courses are next. They're often seen as more valuable than ebooks, so you can charge more. The book mentions a trend towards shorter, more focused courses. Mini courses, they call them. They deliver specific results faster, which is good for people with shorter attention spans. And to host and sell courses without fees, they suggest Teachingly, another platform within Empirely.
Got it.
The book also talks about bundling products. You know, what's the advantage of that?
Where's that?
Bundling is combining different products together, like ebooks, courses, checklists, templates, stuff like that. They mention Sqrindle again for creating those extras.
Right.
You package them all into one offer.
Got it.
This makes it seem more valuable to the customer.
Okay.
It feels like a much better deal than buying each thing separately.
That makes sense.
What other formats did they mention?
Yeah, what else?
Let me see. Audiobooks are a good option, too.
Okay.
People like to consume content that way. The book mentions Talkable for easily creating audio versions of your writing. It also suggests creating these less technical but useful widget-type tools, like spreadsheets or templates that go along with your main products.
Got it.
And professional-looking e-covers are important, too. You can make those with eCoverly, and they really boost the perceived value of your stuff.
And what about making money consistently?
Oh, yeah. For recurring income, the book suggests group coaching programs, often run through platforms like private Facebook groups. You can combine that with an initial bundle offer to make more money up front, too. Upsells are also mentioned. That's offering extra products after someone buys your main thing. It's a way to increase your average sale value. Then they touch on affiliate marketing, where you earn commissions by promoting other people's products. They recommend using platforms like Profit Studio within Empirely, but they warn against promoting low-quality stuff because it can hurt your reputation.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty comprehensive overview of making money online.
Yeah.
Now, the book also has a section on making money faster through freelancing. How does that fit into this sweat equity approach?
Well, the book sees freelancing as a way to make money quickly.
While
you're building your main digital business. You know, the one that's more scalable and product-based.
Right.
It's not the end goal, but it's a strategy to get some income flowing. It's a different kind of freelancing. It uses the skills and tools you're developing for your own empire.
So what kind of freelance services does the book suggest?
It says start with a mix of services. See what you're good at and what's in demand, and then gradually specialize. The ideas they give are things that use the tools we've talked about.
Like what?
Like writing ebooks for others with Sqrindle, designing presentations and videos with Presentar, doing graphic design like e-covers or social media graphics with Income Genie, and even creating websites using Income Genie's templates.
So you're using the same skills and tools you're learning for your own business.
Exactly.
To offer services to other people.
That's the idea.
That's smart. The book also explains how to build a portfolio to showcase your work. By using samples you've created with Sqrindle, Presentar, and Income Genie.
And some of these tools even have built-in features to create your own portfolio website.
Oh, wow.
And to find clients, the book suggests Gigs Hero. It's another part of Empirely, and it helps you find and land clients automatically.
So it's a way to bridge the gap while you're building your own products and audience.
Exactly. While the book does mention ways to scale your freelancing income, charging more, offering upsells, and doing more outreach, the focus is always on using this income to support your main goal. Building that scalable digital empire.
That's great. This has been a really deep look at these sweat equity strategies in how to build a digital empire.
Yeah, for sure.
To recap for our listener, what are the main phases we covered?
Well, we started with the emperor mindset. That's all about believing in the process and taking action every day. Then we talked about finding your starving crowd. Those are the people who need what you have to offer and are actively looking for solutions online. Next, we covered attracting them with a valuable freebie, your lead magnet, to get their email addresses. That led to building relationships through consistent, engaging emails and expanding your reach with that infinite traffic loop by using your content on multiple platforms, all while actively engaging in your niche.
Got it.
Finally, we went over ways to make money by selling products and services to your audience and using freelancing to generate income in the meantime.
And the book really stresses that these methods and the tools, especially the ones in Empirely, are designed to be easy to use, even for people who aren't tech savvy or have limited funds.
That's the core message. You can use your effort, your time, and easily available tools, which are often affordable too, to build your digital empire step by step.
So for you, our listener, as you've heard all this, what stands out to you? What are you thinking about trying first? The key is just to start somewhere, take that first step, and keep putting in the effort. This is about building your digital empire.
And as you think about that, consider this.
Yeah.
With so much information online today, being able to connect with a specific audience by offering real value, using your unique skills and passions, that's a powerful foundation for any successful online business. What unique value can you bring to your starving crowd? That's the question to keep exploring.
That is a great question, and that is something I think we all need to consider. So I hope this deep dive was helpful for everyone, and we will see you in the next one.
Take care.
Bye.